readers,
reviewers,
countrymen,
lend us your ears.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. Welcome to the Brothers Gwynne channel. Today, myself, Edward, William, John, Gwynne, will be today discussing 10 fantasy books that we would love to discuss with more people in the wonderful community that is BookTube and the great fantasy Twitter, of course. But these books, I think more and more people should be out there discovering and discussing, because they are some of our favourite hidden diamonds, I would reckon.
Yes, I agree, and I think let's just get straight into it.
Okay.
Ed, what is your first pick?
Firstly, for me, is Scarlet Odyssey by C.T. Ruizzi. I love this. If you like Evan Winter's The Rage of Dragons, then you will love this African mythology fantastical backdrop that Scarlet Odyssey is dripping with. There is kind of some sci-fi elements, a little bit of robotics, that kind of thing, but this feels it has the heart of fantasy through and through, and I really loved it. It's an adventure. It has the word Odyssey in the title, so there is a journey that is insinuated, which is and the characters are really great. It's kind of a coming of age story, multi POV, full of politics that will really surprise you. There are twists that feel very much like Game of Thrones, that whole King's Landing circle, which really shocks the reader. So yeah, go check this out.
And my first one is going to be Brother Red by Adrian Selby. So this is a standalone, but it runs alongside two other standalones, Snakewood and The Winter Road, so you can read them on their own, but they do link loosely to the other two, but you don't need to have read the others to understand any of them. And I've only read Brother Red, shame on me, but I thought it was really brilliant. I thought that there's such a unique way that Adrian Selby tells a story, but it's so intimate and engaging and character driven alongside a great plot that when it works together, it just intertwines to create something wonderful. And we had a interview with Adrian Selby a few months ago. It was our first interview ever, so remains quite close to our hearts, and we really loved it. It was so interesting. Adrian Selby is great to talk to, and I'll put it will pop up. And yeah, so Adrian Selby's a great person, he really seemed like, and we love chatting to him, and it is a great book.
Great Welsh accent too.
Exactly.
The next one for me is a self-published book called The Gatewatch by Joshua Gillingham. Now, Joshua Gillingham is a big Norse nerd, which is always sits well with me. But this book feels very much like The Hobbit. So if you like The Hobbit, the whole backdrop of the trolls, as well as a group of friends, who are on a mission to go become part of this group of people called the Gatewatch. And these people specifically defend the Gatewatch, the gate, against the trolls that are quite
vicious.
They're pickles, we shall say. They are pickles, miscreants. I really enjoyed this. I love the friendships that people make, as well as all of the different kind of riddles that they tell each other. There's lots and lots to enjoy here, and it feels very much there is lots of inspiration from The Hobbit, with the way that characters associate with each other, their fleetings, their duels with words, and the trolls as well. I loved it. Was so much fun, so go check this out.
And next I'm going to be talking about Priest of Bones by Peter McLean, another author we have had on the channel. We have loved getting authors that we love onto the channel to talk about their books, and Peter McLean is no exception. Priest of Bones is the first of his War for the Rose Throne series, the last of which will be published next year. So get on it now, read the first three, and you'll be there just in time to finish it off as soon as Priest of Crowns will be released. So this is basically Peaky Blinders in a medieval setting.
Yes.
I don't need to say anything more.
The next one for me is another Adrian Selby book. As William said, we did have the pleasure of interviewing him quite a few months ago now. It feels like years and years that we have aged that much. But hey, The Winter Road by Adrian Selby. It's the second book of Adrian Selby's kind of trilogy that are connected, but you can read them in any order.
But chronologically, it is the first.
Yeah, and the female main character here is, if you like Shadow of the Gods, like Orca, then you will love this character here. She is fantastic. She's dark. She's very grim, but she knows exactly what she wants, and she is a good person at heart. She is full. She's great with the things that she does, but she is so sympathetic. It's so easy to get behind her, and it's so awesome to see her as she absolutely wrecks people. So yeah, I love it. The story writing here is amazing. The prose is wonderful, and the way that Adrian Selby really thinks of writing as a craft is great for especially aspiring writers to go and read. So check this out as well.
And Papa Gwynne also loved The Winter Road.
Yes, he did.
And next I have a book that we both loved, and so I'm basically lifting this up for both of us, and this is The Counsellor by E.J. Beaton. And this is a Machiavellian political fantasy, something when that was pitched to us we thought sounds really interesting but not what we usually read, so weren't really sure what we were getting ourselves into, but then we realised we've got ourselves into something pretty awesome. And yeah, this is so amazing. It's some of the best development of characters that I've witnessed in any book I've ever read across any genre, and then it thrusts some very cleverly built plot, some awesome action. I think there's only 2 action sequences, but it is so engaging and magnificently vivid. It is such amazing writing, and it is fantasy, but as I said, Machiavellian, with a brilliant central figure with a lot of powerful characters around her who she has to play a game of chess with, basically. A very big and impactful game of
dangerous.
chess.
Yeah,
very dangerous as well, and it is so awesome, and the way that E.J. Beaton slowly builds a world is just really, really fantastically done. So yeah, do check out The Counsellor. It was actually the first review we did on the channel, so yeah, you can check out our review there.
The next one for me is the only authoress, Queen Grimdark, who comes even close to Cormac McCarthy's prose. Anna Smith Spark, she is a wonderful writer. She's a great person as well. She's so kind-hearted, which is shocking when you see the dark book that she has written. If you like grimdark, if you like characters that have that kind of Prince of Thorns feel, where these characters are dark, you can sympathise with them, but they live in a world that creates very hard people. Then go check this out. It's a fantasy tale that is kind of inspired by high fantasy medieval period as well, with big swords and dragons and whatnot, but also characters that Anna Smith Spark really dives into the mindset of. And she creates some marvellous characters with amazing character arcs in the trilogy, really satisfying end that takes the series in places that you really didn't expect it to. The writing is gorgeous, so you could just read this alone, even if you did not care about the characters whatsoever. Just reading the amazing prose and being able to picture this setting in your mind from Anna Smith Spark's writing is not a bad thing whatsoever. So, you know, again, go check it out.
And that is a trilogy I definitely need to read. And now for one of my favourite reads of 2021 so far, and that is We Are the Dead by Mike Shackle. This was amazing. I read this in a buddy read with Philip Magnus, who's got a great BookTube channel. You should check it out, and he also writes reviews as well, so you can check out his website as well. I'll put a link in the description below. We Are the Dead is really great. It's the story of basically a samurai culture being taken by surprise by their enemy and falling victim to this war that they thought that they had won easily, basically. And it's about basically the aftermath, about how people fight against this new regime. And it is brutal, it is dark, it shows the faults of humanity as well as the heroism. And yeah, I think there's a great cast of characters here. You've got people who are trying to avoid the conflict and just stay alive, and those who are willing to sacrifice everything to win, basically, and those who will damage anyone around them as long as it ends in victory. And it's very interesting seeing how they're almost morphing into being as bad as their enemies. And I think it's a very interesting story with a depth to the story that is more than just overthrowing the tyrants. Are they the tyrants? That is the question as well. And I think that this is just really brilliant, and I'll be reading the sequel very soon.
Some potential unreliable protagonists.
Yes.
Very nice.
We love a bit of that, don't we?
We do. And the last one for me is Ritual of Bone by Lee Conley, another self-published book. This is fantastic. If you want to read about a Skyrim setting that has all of the nostalgia but thrown in some zombies into that Nordic world, then go check out Ritual of Bone. The multi-POV characters are excellently used to interact with each other as they go around full circle, and how they interact with the world around them, as well as really running for their lives. If you like the series Kingdom on Netflix, and go check that out as well. The zombies, the feel had a very similar taste to that as well, set in that historical backdrop as well, which is great. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. Lee Connie's writing is really strong. There is a part 2 out that I am desperate to read, so I will definitely be checking that out very soon, as should you.
And now the last book that I'm going to be talking about, I don't have a physical copy with me, so I'll have a picture pop up, and that is Blood of Heirs by Alicia Wanstall-Burke.
It looks so nice.
I'm going to make it appear in the opposite corner just to make it look strange.
Oh, so good.
And now it would move that way. But yes, Blood of Heirs.
This.
Blood of Heirs is a self-published book by Alicia Wanstall-Burke, which we've both
Yes, we have.
read. Yeah, I didn't even have to finish the sentence. And yeah, I thought that this was really brilliant. I read it for one of the SPFBO competitions. I don't remember which year it was, and I was one of the judges for BookNest, which was awesome. BookNest is a great site for book reviewers. And yes, so Blood of Heirs, it zooms in on 2 central protagonists, both who are unrelated and are in different parts of the world as we know it. And yes, so one of them is part of royalty, but some things go wrong during attacking an enemy force. And yes, his story is really interesting, and it's very interesting seeing how he evolves as a character. Obviously, as royalty, he would have had quite a sheltered life in many aspects, but also quite cold in others. And it's very interesting seeing how changing his situation results in a very unpredictable story. And then we have another protagonist who's very different, still the child of quite a minor lord, but she's a woman and is a patriarchal society, so is looked down upon, and it's part of it is about how can she obtain some power and some control of her life, which is a very compelling story in itself, but there's so much more to it than that, and I thought that Alicia Wanstall-Burke really just adds something unique to it.
Yeah, there's a couple of instances here where there's a little bit of horror seeping in, and it reminds me of the horror in A Quiet Place. The monster makes me feel very much like that. But thank you so much for watching this video. Have you read any of these books? What books do you think that are in the fantasy genre should more and more people be out there talking about, should be experiencing? We'd love to discuss more of these books and find some other hidden diamonds to feature on our channel. Thank you again for watching. Stay safe, happy reading, and truth and courage from the Brothers Gwynne.
Truth and courage, the Brothers Gwynne.